Nathan Martin, a substitute teacher from Jackson, Michigan. Nobody knew his name. He was about to race Michael Kamau, Kenya's elite marathoner, the race leader, untouchable. But Martin wasn't intimidated. He believed he could catch him. 26.2 miles later, Martin had done the impossible. Nathan Martin is not who you think a marathon champion should be. He is not a full-time professional athlete with sponsorships and a team of coaches. He is not training at altitude camps or sponsored by a shoe company receiving free gear. He is 36 years old. He lives in Jackson, Michigan with his responsibilities and his dreams. He teaches high school cross country. He substitutes at school when money gets tight. He coaches the cross country team at Jackson High School, helping young runners chase their own goals. Most days, he wakes up, goes to work, comes home and trains in the evening. He does this while other elite runners have personal coaches, nutritionists, sports psychologists, and support staff managing every detail of their lives. He does not have the luxury that elite athletes typically enjoy. What he has is determination and a refusal to accept circumstances as limitations. Despite all these obstacles, Martin has already done something extraordinary. In 2023, he set a record. He ran 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 45 seconds at Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota. That time made him the fastest American-born black marathoner in history. The previous record, set by Herman Atkins in 1979, was 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 52 seconds. Martin had erased 44 years of history in one race. He has also qualified for the United States Olympic Trials 3 times. He finished 7th at the 2024 Olympic Trials Marathon, competing against the nation's best professional runners. Yet despite all this success, Martin remains unknown to most people. He does not have the profile of a professional athlete. He lives a quiet life. He teaches students. He coaches the cross-country team. He fits his training around his responsibilities. On Sunday, March 8, 2026, Nathan Martin lined up with elite marathoners from around the world at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The race would wind through Hollywood, past the Walk of Fame, through Beverly Hills along Rodeo Drive, and eventually down to Century City. The total distance was 26.2 miles. Michael Kimani Kamau of Kenya was considered the favorite that day. Kamau had dominated the early miles convincingly. He pulled away from the field around mile 10 and built a lead of more than 1 minute. He looked like a man about to win easily. Martin, meanwhile, was struggling. He was not in contention. He was not leading. He was not even close. Most people watching thought the race was decided. Kamau was going to win. That was the story, but Martin refused to accept that narrative. At mile 5, Nathan Martin made his first move. He had no teammate feeding information, no coaches on the sideline directing him. He simply observed that no one else was accelerating. He decided to be different and push. This single decision would eventually lead to victory, not the sprint at the end, but the willingness to take risks when the race felt settled. By mile 19, the gap was shrinking noticeably. Martin's breathing remained controlled. His form stayed strong. Down at the 40-kilometer mark, Martin was 56 seconds behind. Most runners would accept defeat. Martin calculated differently. He began his assault in earnest. The pace quickened. With each mile marker, the gap closed further. 40 seconds, 30 seconds, then less. At mile 24, with 2 miles remaining, Martin could see Kamau in the distance. The race lead pace car flashed ahead. The race was just beginning for Martin. With 1 mile to go, Martin was still trailing, but his mind was clear. With 800 meters remaining, he thought the words that defined this moment, "I'm catching him." Those 8 words represented absolute certainty, not hope, not maybe. Certainty. He knew he would catch Kamau before the finish line. The final 400 meters were where champions are made. Martin accelerated harder than ever. His legs found strength from reserves built through years of training. Kamau faded visibly. He had controlled the race for over 2 hours, but the marathon extracts its price. At 300 meters from the finish, Kamau made a critical mistake. He followed the race motorcade off the marked course for approximately 5 seconds, ducking behind a spectator waving a Kenyan flag. It was a small detour in a marathon decided by 1/100th of a second. Every stride mattered. Martin stayed on course. He kept moving forward, eyes on the finish line. As they approached the finish in Century City on Santa Monica Boulevard, Martin was right there. He was not behind anymore. He was stride for stride with Kamau. In the final moment, Martin leaned his body forward. His chest crossed the finish line first by the tiniest fraction. The clock read 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 16 seconds for Martin. Kamau's time showed 2 hours, 11 minutes and 17 seconds, but official results showed they had the same time. Then the photo finish was reviewed. The images revealed the truth. Martin had won by 0.01 seconds, 1/100th of a second, 12 inches maybe, the closest finish in the Los Angeles Marathon's entire 41-year history. What happened next made the moment even more dramatic. Kamau collapsed at the finish line immediately. His body gave out completely. Medical staff rushed to help him. They loaded him onto a stretcher and carried him away. Later, reports confirmed that Kamau had not taken fluids during the entire race. He had run a full marathon without hydrating his body. His reserves were empty. His body had simply shut down at the finish. He had given everything but not taken care of the basics. In a marathon, that is ultimately a losing strategy. Martin, by contrast, had hydrated well throughout the race. He had paced himself carefully. He had stayed disciplined. When the moment came to attack, he had the strength to do it. The significance of Martin's victory cannot be overstated. He is the first African American to win the Los Angeles Marathon in its 41-year history. This is not a small detail. This matters deeply. For Black distance runners in America, this moment is about representation and visibility. Less than 1% of Americans will ever complete a marathon. Of that tiny group, Black runners make up only about 3%. The barriers are real and documented. They include expensive entry fees, lack of safe places to train, and systemic inequalities in how resources are distributed to different communities. Martin's victory says something powerful to every Black athlete facing these barriers. These obstacles do not have to define your outcome. One man, working as a teacher and coach, balancing responsibility and dreams, can still rise to the highest level. He can still beat elite international competition. He can still make history. Nathan Martin's final time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 16 seconds was impressive, but it was not his personal best. His true personal best remains 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 45 seconds set at Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota in 2023. That means his LA Marathon victory time was only 32 seconds slower than his fastest marathon ever run. Considering the weather, the course difficulty, and the intensity of the competition, that tells you everything about his conditioning. For his first-place finish, Martin earned $25,000 in prize money. That money matters for someone who teaches high school and substitutes to make ends meet. In the women's race, Kenyan runner Priska Cherono won convincingly in 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 18 seconds. The 45-year-old mother of 3 had made no mistakes and taken no wrong turns. She had simply run the race of her life. She was stronger than everyone else that day. Kenya's Enyu Nigat finished third in the men's race with a time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 23 seconds. After the race, Nathan Martin spoke about what the victory meant. He said the same thing he tells his students every day: never give up. He also said, "I always challenge myself to push regardless of whether there's somebody to chase or I'm all by myself. I know I can always do that. You can't always win, but you can always push. I'm just super fortunate that effort gave me the win." Those are not the words of someone who got lucky. They are the words of someone who understands how marathons are truly won. They are won in the willingness to suffer when everyone else has given up. Nathan Martin did something impossible. He chased down a runner who led for 2 hours. He closed a gap that seemed too large. He found strength when his body screamed to stop. He did this while teaching high school students in Michigan while living a normal life. That is what makes him a champion.